Hey everybody, what's going on? My name is Jordan. Welcome to our latest webinar. Joining me today is Charles. Say what's up, Charles.
Hello.
So in this session, we're going to go over one of our new features called the alert system. And this feature was launched with version 4.7.0, and it's been a huge hit. So we wanted to kind of unpack what it can do and how you can use it. So first and foremost, what is the alert system? It's an additional tool for community managers to openly communicate with their members, an individual member or a group of members, and it informs them of something, whether that's a welcome message, maybe they needed some additional help, maybe they need to check in with that member. There's a bunch of different ways that you can use this alert system that we're going to go over in today's webinar, so stay tuned. And we've had a lot of great feedback for this feature. It uses the moderator control panel. And we actually have another feature that we'll play into moderation that Charles is going to hint at the very end of this. So stick around, please. And while you're watching this webinar, please feel free to weigh in. We have a Q&A section that you can ask questions, and we'll get to those at the end. And if you just want to maybe weigh in or share some feedback or commentary, there's also a chat feature, so you can use that as well. And last but not least, before we dive fully in, I want to mention that as a thank you for watching this live, if you're one of our clients that are on the cloud-based plans, then we have an additional benefit for you. You can collaborate with us one-on-one to help better understand the alert system and how you can use it in your own community. So please feel free to reach out to either myself or Charles via private message on our community support forum. We'll include a link in the chat section, so stay tuned for that in a moment. And then we can work with you on your schedule to kind of get you some extra support and strategize some best practices. So I know that was a lot, but with that said, I'm going to pass it along to Charles, and we're going to go over how powerful the alert system feature is. Charles, take it away.
Thanks, Jordan. So yeah, the alert system, like Jordan said, is a fairly new thing. We implemented based on some client feedback. We needed the ability to send people a message that they knew they would read, but didn't always have to have a reply. But then also sometimes they want to require a reply. And they didn't want to like clog up their private message system and stuff like that. So that's where this came from, is a way to get a user's attention. Not always a bad thing, sometimes it's a good thing. So that's where this thing came from. So I'm just going to do a very quick demo, share my screen, and here we go. So first what I'm just going to send an alert so you can just see. I'm going to use Olivia's account here as my my test case. So everything you expect, title, content, few options here. So you can set a start date. So you can even do this in the future. A lot of clients use this for like maybe they're going to do a flash sale or something like that, and they want to be able to, set this up, and also an end date. So let's say you had like a 3-day flash sale in your community or on your site. You could set this to, start alerting people when it comes up, and then end at a certain date. What that means is only people who logged onto your community during that time frame would get this alert. They don't keep getting it every time they log in. It's just a one-time thing. They view it, great, and go from there. So I'm just gonna do a quick thing here. You can send alerts to one person or to a group of people. So that's a good example where you can, by sending to a group, you can alert everyone, say all your moderators to something that's going on, or your VIP users, things like that as well. You can send it anonymously. And what this really means is, rather than it being from me, it just be from no one. So it's like a site alert or something like that. So that's why we include that feature. And then replies. If you say no replies, it's literally just an alert. They click agree or dismiss, and that's it. You can set them to optional reply, or they must reply. So the cool thing about must reply is you can use the alert system to like get someone's attention. Great example of this is we have some clients in the mental health space. They use the Envision community for mental health services or support and things like that. And if someone's saying something in the community that is concerning, you can use an alert almost like as a support message. Say, you okay? We have services available to you. And especially if you do must reply, you can say, I really need to talk to you. What you're saying may be concerning, or I really want to offer you help. Things like that as well. So I'm just doing a single use here, and then I'm going to go back in our ACP here and log in as Olivia. And then you'll see I get this alert that I just did. And in this case, I did it as no, it's from me, but I didn't require a reply or anything. So they just click agree, and then that's the end of it. And of course, you can change that wording. So, like I said, what's interesting about the alert system, it's not just, hey, here's this message. It can be used for so many different things. We have clients who use it for moderation. So, someone, let's say they're doing something in the community that's not, not to the level of like you're going to moderate them or warn them, but maybe just say, hey, could you stop that? That's not really the type of behavior we're after. That's a good example there. I mentioned mental health. I mentioned, flash sales and things like that. We've used it when we do our events like we're doing right now. We use it to alert people like, hey, an event's happening right now. So the alert system is really flexible in that way. So going back over here, if I just switch back to me and I refresh over here, you'll see that in this case, it's just one user, so it's viewed one time. And it does track that. And same with replies, it'll tell you if it's replied. That's more useful when you're saying to a group of people. Another thing, thinking outside the box with alerts, you can even use it for a very popular thing in our marketplace is a welcome PM. Someone sends a private message as soon as the user joins the community. Nothing wrong with that. The downside is it does clutter up your inbox for your PMs because a lot of people might not reply or they might not look at it immediately. So what you can do is you can just create an alert to a group, send it to your members, which means, of course, everyone, when they join, they're in the members group, and it has an option here, everyone or new members only. So that's exactly what this is. It's kind of a welcome message when new members join, and you can even say they can optional reply if they have questions, or you can even make them reply. Maybe that's a case where when new members join your community, you must first say, hey, why did you join? What are you trying to do here? Maybe a survey you want to ask them. So there's a lot of options in here to think outside the box. We call it an alert system, but it can also be a great user engagement tool.
I'm taking a quick look at the screen here, and one thing that I think is also worth mentioning is the start and end date times. Would you want to possibly expand a little bit on why that would be beneficial to somebody?
Yeah, I touched on a little bit, I mentioned things like flash sales, but also really useful for, perhaps you have things that are time sensitive in not so much like a day event. Like, for example, we're running a promo now to switch to our cloud platform for free. And we thought about and that ends the end of November, you're putting those kind of things in to expand those kind of ongoing initiatives. Because I think the key thing to remember there, it doesn't keep alerting them over and over and over again. That would get super annoying. We didn't do that. It does it once, they read it, and that's the end of it. So the users aren't overwhelmed with it, because otherwise it starts to get annoying.
Yeah, that's a great step towards automating processes like this, so that a community leader can set something up to kind of set it and forget it should they need to.
And of course, you can also make them inactive too. So you can have an alert. Maybe you do a permanent alert. It's not time-based. It's always on alert, but you can make them active or inactive, if the situation may change depending on what you're doing on your community.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, so a couple great examples that you showed. You mentioned the welcome message, you mentioned a flash sale, you mentioned kind of checking in with a member. And I do think it's worth kind of shining a little extra light on that, because oftentimes I think moderators sometimes can rule with an iron fist, and they have warning points and just do. And so this is a step for us towards kind of creating a little bit of like a middleman, so to speak, of a way to maybe alert somebody that, hey, you're not posting like how you usually do, or maybe it could be a reminder to check out the community guidelines. So it seems like we created this, in an effort to kind of mitigate any sort of problems as they arise.
Yeah, it's more soft touch moderation, which we're really, Jordan, you and I talk about this a lot, how when we advise clients, we're really big into don't come in there with a band hammer. Sometimes people just be like, hey, that's not the vibe we're after in our community. Could you tone it down a bit? And especially with the alert system, because you can require a reply, it's a way of opening a dialogue with someone. So you can talk to them in private before they might become a huge problem, to just say, hey, I know you don't mean it that way, but maybe your posts aren't coming off too friendly. Can we talk about that? So I think the alert system can be used for so many different purposes. And we're also leveraging it for some new features. I don't know if you want me to talk about that now. I can talk about that now.
Yeah, I
So some
mean,
other things we're doing, because the alert system's been so well received, we're adding in similar features like little things like when you, let's say you edit someone's post or you delete someone's post or lock a topic, a moderation action. There'll be a new dialogue where you can check a box and send them an alert and saying, hey, I moved your topic to a new forum. You didn't do anything wrong. I was just trying to stay organized. You can send them a message to say, don't worry about it, or don't get confused. It's a way of further engaging your members. So not every moderation action needs to be a negative interaction. Sometimes you're just fixing a typo for them, something like that.
Yeah, and something to kind of speak on with moderation is that sometimes a group of moderators may collectively agree on a decision, but not know who should execute on that. And so I think that's one, kind of jumping back into the alert system feature, like having the anonymous capability, I think is really powerful because it allows the team to basically make a decision together and then have a united front.
And actually, one of our attendees it was just in a chat message, and you beat me to it actually, and that's exactly what we're doing. He had asked a question about being able to alert based on a post, and that's exactly what we're doing. So if you are taking action on that post, you can optionally send an alert and it will tell them, hey, this post, this is the alert about it. And again, the warning system can do that. This can already do these things, which is great. And the warning system is super useful, but sometimes it's like you haven't quite reached the level of a warning, but just want to let someone know, hey, please don't do that. Or maybe there's nothing wrong. Like you can say, hey, I fixed this typo for you. And that's all it is. But just to let the user know that you care and you're engaging in the community. And that's what's great about the alert system.
Nice. David, thank you so much for submitting that comment. Appreciate it. Charles, is there any final words in terms of why someone would want to use this, or maybe a best practice, or just any sort of final words regarding the alert system that come to mind?
I would say it's the kind of thing, think outside the box, because a lot of times features like this, at its core, the alert system is another way to engage your members and your community. And there's tons of tools in the Vision community to let you engage your members. And what we like seeing is when we put a feature like the alert system out, the interesting ways our clients come up to use that. And a lot of times that informs what we do with the product from there. We are adding features to alert based on a specific post and things like that, because our client feedback was, hey, this is great. I'd like to do even more with it. And that's really fun, especially for our developers. They dream up these new features. And when we see people using them, it's a lot of fun for them to keep improving.
Yeah, it's nice to have that two-way street with us and clients. And that's something that this alert system in some ways provides. If you're requiring a reply back from a member or a group of members, you're kind of creating that dialogue together.
Yep, sure.
So appreciate you weighing in on that. And I'm going to take this plane home, everybody, and say thank you so much for watching this. Again, I want to remind you, if you're watching this live, please reach out to us one-on-one as a private message in our community support forum as a thank you for participating. And it's also worth mentioning that we're doing these weekly webinars every Thursday moving forward for the foreseeable future. So stay tuned. We have one slated for October 20th next. It's going to cover private messages. That's a feature that we feel is a bit underutilized. So we're going to expand on private messages and perhaps future functionality for it. So get your mind right for that. And with that said, thank you so much for watching. It's greatly appreciated. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.